Adopting Sitota and Therese has changed our family, definitely. We are a lot more aware of issues that are in the world. You can't forget the plight of orphans around the world when you see how these girls used to be orphans and now they're not. Now they're part of a family, and you look at their pictures before and after, and you just can't deny the huge difference it makes to be loved by a family.
Here as Americans, we have so much to offer, and it's helped us to become, I think, less selfish by taking our eyes off of just ourselves, what's going on here, and we watch what's going on in the world. It's increased our awareness of world events.
We're just a very, very regular, normal family, and we feel like if we can do it, there's so many other families that could be involved with adoption too. I have 4 children. My oldest child is our most newly adopted child. She's 10, her name is Therese, and we adopted her from Burkina Faso. Then I have Evelia, who just recently turned 10, and she's in 4th grade. She is my biological daughter. I have a 6-year-old named Sitota, and she is in 1st grade. We adopted her when she was 3 from Ethiopia. And then I have a son who is 6 years old, and he's in kindergarten. His name's Carter. Sitota is from Ethiopia, and we adopted her when she was 3 years old. She's now 6. We came to adopt her because I had read a book called There Is No Me Without You, and it explains how the orphan crisis happened in Ethiopia, and it really broke my heart to hear just the number of orphans and the significant problems that orphans have, and then when they even grow up, just how tragic their life can be, and it really broke my heart to hear about this. And so we began looking into adoption from Ethiopia.
All she knows is us as far as parents go. Although we have done some work to make sure she knows her birth story and that, you know, how she came to be with us. I actually used I think it was Snapfish or one of those places, and actually wrote a book for her, a storybook that tells her story, and she likes to look at that. And we pulled as many pictures as we could from the adoption process that we were doing, some photographs of the people who had taken care of her in her village before she came to the orphanage. So she does have some sense of her heritage and her culture from before she was adopted, but I think very few memories from that time.
We decided to adopt children because our hearts were broken when we heard stories about orphans around the world. Just thinking of children who don't have parents to tuck them in at night and guide them through life is just really, really hard to imagine, especially when you have children of your own and you just can't imagine any child growing up without the influence of a mother or father. And we really enjoy being parents, and we have a lot of love to give, and we thought, you know, we could do that. We could help a child like that.
My wife and I had talked about adopting even before we were married. We had started talking about the idea of adoption, and I think it was something that was important to both of us. The way we picked Ethiopia was we really wanted to look internationally as opposed to domestically, because we felt that it just gave a better picture of the world. And we were doing it as a way for us to increase our worldview, but I think also to help others to expand their worldview as well. Ethiopia has, for decades, for centuries, really just been, you know, on the threshold of really incredible poverty. We wanted to make as great a difference as we could by making that decision. I think it was because of Carter's story and some of the heart problems that he had, and us getting over some of those fears and knowing that we had some great resources here, and because of Sitota's story and knowing that we've been through the adoption process before, and that's what brought Therese home. She went from, you know, whatever you picture Africa to be like, that's what Yako is like. Very little vegetation and very little money, incredibly impoverished. And so you picture that, and then, you know, Chicago O'Hare Airport. I mean, it's a pretty major thing. So that was the first time I met her, was in that context. And it was, I think, shocking for her. As far as we know, we are the first U.S. family living in the U.S. to actually complete an adoption with Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso is in West Africa. We were not originally looking to adopt from Burkina Faso necessarily, but we heard about Therese and her story from kind of a friend online who had gone to Burkina Faso, visited the orphanage, and met her. And, you know, when we learned about her story, as far as her being older and her having a heart defect, it really impacted us, because since we had had Carter, who had had a heart defect, and finding out that she could not get treatment in her country. So she was stuck, and we knew, you know, that basically she would die if she did not get adopted. So when we heard this story, we were very compelled to adopt her.
I think the best thing that we've got going for us is that we've been given a gift of a multicultural family that has forced us to have a life that is based on selflessness, that looks outward instead of inward. We have a vision and an understanding of the world that there are things beyond just us, and we've been given the opportunity to see the world as big of a place as it is, and given the opportunity to not live for ourselves.